streaming only on Peacock.
What do you know about Dr. Dunch?
He was charming, intelligent.
My patients mean everything to me.
Based on the unbelievable true story.
I can't make sense of it.
Dunch has 2 deaths that we know of. The state of Texas has executed people for less.
It's like he knew what he was supposed to do.
And he did the exact opposite.
Dr. Death, starring Joshua Jackson with Christian Slater and Alec Baldwin.
I am going to fix you.
All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock.
And you know what? It's okay to be gay and a little feminine. Just be you. Just be you.
Hey y'all, and once again, happy Pride Month. I'm Christian Gray Snow, and this is the Slut Pig Podcast, a podcast from The Dip. I'll be your tour guide for all things Real Housewives as we navigate Bravosphere's greatest contribution to pop culture. And today, girl, we got a lot going on. I'm discussing the cast shakeup that has struck Orange County. My favorite attorney, James Leonard Jr., is back to discuss the developments in Erica Jane's legal battles following that scathing Hulu documentary. Plus, I'm joined by Housewives superfan and digital associate producer for Watch What Happens Live, Frank Costa. Y'all already know small talk is like small dicks, and I hate a small dick. Let's get started right now.
You're trash. You're trash.
No, I'm not.
Oh, yeah, you are.
Ladies and gentlemen, Trash Day hit Bravo headquarters because the OC trash has been taken out. It was confirmed late Tuesday night, June 15th, that Kelly Dodd and Bronwyn Windenberg are out for Real Housewives of Orange County Season 16. Elizabeth Lynn Vargas is also out, but yeah, who knows? We don't even know who she is. Anyway, but that's not all. No. Fancy Pants is confirmed to be returning, y'all. Heather Dubrow will be back for Season 16 after taking a few years off from the franchise, and I gotta tell ya, it was so nice whenever this came out and it was confirmed to see Bravo fans rejoicing and celebrating news that was related to OC, because I feel like it has been so long since anything good has come out of Orange County. Last season, obviously everyone hated. I didn't even watch last season and I still hated it. So I think that it's just been a very long time coming that the fans and loyal viewers of Housewives of Orange County had some good news to celebrate. So let's celebrate that. I think some people are shocked, myself included, that Emily Simpson somehow made the cut again. If you didn't hear, Emily, Shannon, and Gina will be returning for Season 16, so they'll be waiting for Heather when she gets there. Shannon is not ready for this. Anyway, so yes, Emily's coming back. I'm shocked, just as shocked as y'all are, that somehow Emily keeps getting a letter invited back to join these shows. I have no fucking idea who she or Shane are sucking off at Bravo, but somebody, obviously. My friend messaged me the other day because we were talking about this, and he said, you know what, this will be Emily's 4th season, I think. And so Emily will have officially been a housewife, a full-time housewife, longer than Brandi Glanville. And to me, that is disgusting and disappointing. What else is disappointing is that there has been no mention of a return from either Vicky or Tamra. And y'all already know I'm all about my OG energy. Tamara's not technically an OG. She's close enough. In all cities, I need OGs there. That's just how I feel. I'm super excited and I'm relieved that Bravo seems to be, finally listening to fans and what we have to say. And, obviously fans and viewers hated Bronwyn and Kelly. So I'm happy to see that they didn't bring them back. But while I'm happy to see some improvements, I have to be honest. In the words of Lisa Rinna, I have to be honest. I am still very, very upset that we aren't getting both of them back. I don't want one or the other. I want both. Look, I get flack for it. I know, but Vicky will always be my favorite number one housewife, simply because I think that she's the funniest fucking person on earth. I don't know why. I just do. And to me, no Vicky, no show. Sorry, just how I feel. Like I said, look, I'm super excited for this fresh chapter of Orange County. I'm excited for the loyal viewers and people who are excited. I used to be one of them. But, as of now, for me, it's going to remain on the list of things that I don't watch. I just cannot, I cannot enjoy an OC without the OG of the OC. That's just my opinion. No matter how much my heart desires, I love Tamra. Even if they brought her back without Vicky, I'm still out. But again, I'm excited. Things just seem to be going in a better direction for the mothership of, this franchise that we love so much. And to that, I say, Heather, go give them hell, baby.
I'm sorry, but that girl Sarah broke the bow off my cake and ate it.
Are you kidding me?
No, don't curse.
Oh, sorry.
Who does that? You don't...
All right, this fabulous guy is responsible for all of Watch What Happens Live's fire tweets that make you laugh. He's here to chat about all things Housewives with me, and I'm going to get to know all of his Housewives traits. Everyone, please welcome Watch What Happens Live's digital associate producer, Frank Costa.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. So I just want to say it's weird because I feel like we've been like internet friends for a long time, but I've never even heard your voice until like 30 seconds ago.
I know it's so wild how you get like these relationships with people online and then you just click immediately in person.
Yeah, I know. So since we don't know a lot about each other, I thought it could be fun to get to know you a bit. You are the digital associate producer for Watch What Happens Live. You and I actually have similar like job roles, obviously for different shows. But tell everybody, what's it like working at the Holy Grail of Housewives?
Oh, it's so much fun. I'm actually excited to get back in person now that because so much of the behind the scenes stuff is like funny, like getting to see the housewives in their natural habitat when they're like not in front of the camera. But it's a lot of fun. It's like a dream job. It's like the epitome of like when they say like you enjoy your job, it doesn't feel like a job.
Yeah, I love it. So I know you said the behind the scenes stuff is the best part. Who's the first housewife you met when you started working? Do you remember?
The first night I was shadowing and it was Kim Zolciak and Eva Marcel. That was like the first episode where I was like actually on set. And that was, I mean, yeah, it was
I feel
good.
like that's a good intro to the
yeah.
right. I feel like that's a good welcome.
It's a good starter.
Yes. Also for the youngsters out there, for people that want jobs in digital, do you have any like tips for people?
It's all networking. I mean, I'm someone who like I went to grad school for social media. I have a master's degree in social media and mobile marketing, but
amazing.
A lot of the industry is just like getting connections and then people who will advocate on your behalf. And that's really it. And also learning. Like,
very true.
You really have to teach yourself how to use like Photoshop, Premiere, all of Adobe, Final Cut if you can, all of that stuff.
Yeah, because like if you're like me, none of my college classes, unfortunately, taught me any of that stuff. I had a very like broad, like general communications, like mass media degree. So everything that I like any janky memes or videos that you see throw together, like I had to teach myself how to do that. It
really comes in handy.
Oh, absolutely. All right. Well, first up, before we chat about Real Housewives of New York, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, it's been an exhausting week. Okay, we have to discuss the news that broke late Tuesday night that Heather Dubrow is confirmed and returning to Real Housewives of Orange County season 16, and Kelly Dodd, Boring Wynn Burke, and Elizabeth Vargas are out. All right, thoughts on Heather's return? What are you thinking?
I think she's a legend. She's an icon. She's the moment. I'm excited for her return. I do think we need maybe Tamra in the mix, maybe Vicky, some type of other connection to the other girls.
I agree.
But I mean, I'm excited for, it's not going to be OC, it's going to be Dubrow.
Oh! Okay, so thoughts on, looking at, last season's cast, the last cast we had. What are your thoughts on Emily, Gina, and Shannon being the ones who are coming back?
I think Elizabeth Vargas, I think she could have lasted another season, but I'm not, you never know. Like, I thought Claudia Jordan was great, and then she was a one-season wonder.
Same.
So you never really know. Yeah, I mean, someone's got to get the chop, and it's
rough, yeah. I will say I was in my little friends group chat yesterday, and even if you didn't like Elizabeth, and I didn't even watch last season, so I really can't have a lot of an opinion, but I always, no matter, even if I hate a newbie, like while I didn't like Leah, I will always say that every newbie should get 2 seasons, because it just takes a long time to really get to know if you like a housewife or not, And I think to understand what their impact could or could not be on, a franchise. So I do think that she should have gotten a second chance. Also, it was during COVID, her first season. And my friend made a good point.
Well, they were the first ones to film during COVID too.
Yes. And my friend made a good point. He was like, it's kind of sad she didn't even get to do like the in-person like press runs and like all that stuff. Yeah.
All the fun stuff. Like, even working at Watch Happens Live, there's so many housewives that haven't, like, Leah's never been to the studio.
Oh, my God.
Garcelle's never been to the studio. Like, these people that have been on for, like, feel like they've been in forever have never been to watch Husbands Life Clubhouse. It's crazy.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of weird. I can't believe that Leah's never been. That's kind of weird. What are your hopes for newbies? What are you hoping for?
I totally agree about 2 seasons because, you know, on the other end of the spectrum, there's so many housewives who are like, love their first seasons and then they come back for season 2 and they're hated. So it kind of works the opposite way, where if they're like not really vibing their first season, they may open up the second season. I always enjoy a newbie though, because I think it throws a wrench into the mix and see where alliances kind of fall and stuff.
Yeah, they're saying we're gonna get what's her name? That Noella girl. Which look, while she was friend, I do listen, and I have to be shady here. I think it's fucking hilarious that her friend Bronwyn got the axe and she got hired. That is hysterical. Anyway.
Well, the same thing happened with Teddy because Crystal's great friends with Teddy, and when Teddy left, Crystal came in.
You are right. I forgot about that. You're very right. Oh, also, weren't Noella and Vicky? I think they used to be friends back in the day. Someone told me that. So I'm just going to put that out into the universe for God to do what he needs to do with it. Okay, yeah. So look, I tend to keep my episodes short and sweet. We've already hit on Orange County. We got to talk about Beverly Hills. The opening of this week's episode, I thought was chilling with like Erica like driving down the road and like she like looks dead at the camera, saying there are so many layers to this divorce. You know, I also thought it was brave of Crystal so early on in her experience as a housewife to open up about her experience, you know, with bulimia. So I just wanted to get, what were your thoughts on the first few minutes of the episode? What were you thinking?
I mean, I think it's really good. It's like it's a slow build this season because it's like, although we're seeing drama happen, this story's unfolding like episode by episode. So we're getting to see it really become like a story. Like it's almost like a movie.
Yeah, it is. And the crazy thing is that even though like we're watching it and they've been wrapped for months, the shit's still going. Like it's still developing. Like their reunion is about to be.
Oh, I know.
So I hate seeing Kyle and Dorit fight. So I hated.
I love it because it's almost like a sisterly thing to me. Like they're always gonna fight,
and they always get they do always get over it. I will say. I was surprised to see that Dorit left after the argument.
I know. I have to say, you know, PK, he's been growing on me. I love that he was like, we couldn't even have the pasta or something. Like, that's me. Like, I would have been like, let me eat first.
Yeah. And then he blamed it on, like, well, we're going to look rude because we left. It's like, he just wanted the food. Absolutely. I love it. I thought it was fucking hilarious. At Sutton's store, Kathy walks in for the first time. She's like, you know, you really don't need that piece of furniture over there. And did you notice, like as soon as they sat down, she said, I want to get to the bottom of this Erica thing.
Oh, yeah.
Kathy's
my favorite Erica comment was that when Garcelle at the end of the episode says something like, really? Like, you could tell, like, we all know what she's talking about, but like, that's like, my Sagittarius sister.
I love it. And what's funny is like, you know, obviously we know we're all watching an edited version. And so they were sitting there for an awkward moment in silence. And I think that in real life, it was probably even longer. And so I think it was just so funny that no one was about to just say, she should have just waited until he died. You know, we
got to like edit the Jeopardy music over that or something.
Oh my God. Wait, you just called it. You need to when we get off here, you have to go do that.
Yeah.
That's great. I cannot believe that they left us on a cliffhanger again this week, though, because
I love it to be continued. I love a 3 days later. I love a 45. Like I love like 2 weeks before. I love that. I live for that.
He's like six years prior. I love it.
The editors deserve Emmys.
I love it. I will say I like a cliffhanger, but I just felt like we were going to get to at least see a little bit after Erica walked in the house. But I do love that little clip at the end of Rena going, like peeking her head down as like Erica's like walking in, and it's just crazy because Erica knows obviously that as she's walking down that sidewalk into Sutton/Kyle's house that like everyone's obviously in there talking about her. You know, she knows what she's walking into. So what are you thinking of the season so far as a whole?
Oh, I love it. I think Beverly Hills gets a bad rap. I think that they always deliver fashion. They always deliver drama. I think it's just different from other housewives shows, so you can't really compare apples to diamonds.
Literally, and I was getting ready to say, Kit, what are your feelings on this season compared to the season of Roni? What do you think? I know you just said you can't compare, but how are you feeling about both?
I mean, I like Roni this season. I do think that they might need another person. I think always the larger housewives, it gives you more opinions, it gives you more drama. So a larger cast would be more beneficial for them. And it's also new blood because a lot of them we've seen before. So it's a lot of the same cast.
Very true.
So I think maybe adding someone or switching it up next season would be good too.
Were you excited to see Heather jump back into the mix this season?
I was. I love Holla Mama Heather.
I love her too.
The Deck Me scene is like one of the most iconic Roni moments.
It really
is.
I think people sleep on that scene too.
Yeah, and I always quote, "She died, Aviva."
The things that you say about people are really, really vile.
What have I said about people?
Okay,
Besides the
you
Ramona,
said that Sonia was on a downward spiral like Anna
Yes.
Nicole Smith.
which was actually a huge compliment. She's
She
one of the
died,
greatest
Aviva.
icons.
That's not a compliment.
There's another one too where it's like when Aviva throws her leg, Heather's like, "I find that laughable." And that's another one.
Yeah. I love it. Well, Heather was your first guest back in studio, right?
No, our first one was, wait, I'm drawing blank. It was Uzo Aduba and John Benjamin Hickey. It was our first bartender, though.
Which was the Cubbyhole bartender. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I saw. So how was it having a housewife back in studio? What was it
good.
like?
It feels so nice having people back in studio because like you get more of that like in-person chemistry, awkwardness, every type of emotion that like happens with like when you're face to face with somebody.
Yeah, I love it. How many people are on, like, because for me, like the TV show that I work for is like such a huge crew, you know, but I feel like Watch What Happens Live is like a small, like little family. How many people are on y'all's production crew?
It's about 50 people for just Watch What Happens Live. Yeah, I would say about 50.
Wow, that's very intimate for people that, you know, that work outside of like production. I mean, when I was in daytime TV and we were actually on set, I mean, I worked there for like 3 seasons and there were people there that were they were there all the seasons that I were, and still when I left, I did not know their names because there were that many people around. Yeah, so, all right, well, what we're going to do next is what I like to call Housewives rapid fire questions. We're going to put 60 seconds on the clock, and we're going to get through as many of these as we can. It's going to be fun, okay?
All right, sounds good.
All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. First housewife that comes to mind when I say the word beautiful. Go.
Dolores.
Love that. Absolutely. Okay. Now, nicest housewife that you have had an encounter with through work.
Margaret Joseph.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I've said it before and I'll always say it. She's always like down to clown. If we want to do something for social, she'll always do it. She's always ready and she's always game.
Like it. Housewife who was most different than you expected.
That's a tough one. Wow.
You don't have to say for good or bad.
I don't know. I can't answer that one right now. We'll come back to it.
Okay, favorite housewife of all time. Not because of the show, just as a viewer.
Teresa.
Oh, yay!
I have to go with Teresa.
If you could fuck any house husband, who would it be?
Joe Gorga?
Fire any housewife from any current franchise, who would it be?
Ooh. I'm going to plead the fifth on that one.
Who do you hope to meet most at BravoCon?
Heather Dubrow.
Yay! Okay, time's up.
Okay.
I love it.
Did we not get to any questions that you wanted to ask though?
There was one question that I wanted to ask.
Let's go.
I want to know, who is your least favorite housewife of all time? Like, if you found out they were booked on the show, you wouldn't be excited.
You know what's funny? Because New Jersey is probably my favorite, but Amber and Siggy are just like vile people.
Very true. And we don't have to worry about them being booked on Watch What Happens Live anytime soon, do we?
But I have to tell you, I love the twins. I do love the twins. I have a soft spot for them.
I feel like they get a bad rap.
They do.
I mean, going back to one season. Like, come on. How are you going to give 2 people one season?
Well, you know, that first responders party, when they pull their hair. Oh,
hello.
Chills.
And like, just the thought, like, one of them, it was just great. Like, they're kind of like comparing their lives. Like, one is like living with her husband.
And that party gets
memed
so many times because we see Teresa in the nurse outfit. Like, you see that episode all the time on social media. So it's so wild.
Absolutely. Wait, so what was the one question that we said we would have to go back to? Oh, housewife that was most different than you expected. It could be it doesn't have to be for good or bad.
I know.
It could be either.
Maybe Tamra.
Really? Okay, well.
Yeah. Because she came to the studio, she was so nice, and like, she's really like one of the nicest people. And I know on the show, people think she's like a villain or like she's this and that.
Yeah.
But she's like really so nice in person. She gave us all like her Venus CBD stuff. Not to plug her, but you know, it's a plug. And she was like super nice. I loved meeting her, and it made me love her even more as a housewife. She really changed. She was a game changer.
Oh, Tamra is historic, period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, thank you so much for joining me. I'll let you get back so you can go put your Jeopardy music over that iconic little scene that we just watched. I can't wait to see. I won't be able to see it on Twitter because your girl has been kicked off Twitter. I'm still waiting to get my account back. Thank you. Messy. All I did was say cunt. Sorry. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Before we go, tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me on all social media at Feisty Frank. It goes against the I before E rule, so it's FEISTY Frank.
I love it. All right, well, I'm so glad you guys have audiences back in studio. Make sure you tell Andy and the crew over there that, you know, we all said hello and that Vicky needs to come back to Real Housewives of Orange County. Hang tight, everybody. We will be right back. Unlike Bronwyn and Kelly. All right, everybody, this week kicked off with a bang for Bravo fans because on Monday, June 14th, an ABC News original was exclusively dropped on Hulu, centering on the legal mishandlings of Tom Girardi and Erica. Social media was ablaze on Monday as we were introduced to the victims of Tom, and then shortly thereafter on Tuesday, it was announced that Erica's legal representation was parting ways with her in her bankruptcy case. So, if you're like me, and your head is spinning, and you're probably wondering what the actual fuck is happening. Yeah, that's what you're doing. Because listen, your girl, like I said, your girl didn't go to law school. So that's why I reached out to my friend, a friend of the podcast, Teresa Giudice's attorney, James Leonard Jr. All right. Hi, James. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Good afternoon. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Of course. I was so glad that you were willing to come back on. So look, we're just going to get right to it. Is what we are reading about, you know, Erica's attorneys wanting to part ways with her, is it as bad as everyone's making it out to be? Is it as bad as we think?
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, when the going gets tough, lawyers are not supposed to get going, okay? Lawyers are supposed to stay with their clients through when the going gets tough. So I have two opinions, and I think it's one of the following. Number one, this may ultimately be a financial dispute between she and her lawyers. This may ultimately be the lawyers saying, this is going to be a lot more involved than we thought, promised us X amount of money, we haven't gotten it. So we want to get out of this before it gets a little out of control. I'm not necessarily leaning in that direction. Because I read the filings, I read some things about this actually from the lawyers. And what the lawyers seemed to be saying was that based upon their interactions with her and their communications, they didn't think that the attorney-client relationship could move forward because I kind of thought I read or it was suggested that she might not have been being honest with them or something like that, which gave them some pause to get out of this. Either way, it is messy. I'm not going to lie. It is messy. And it's never a good thing when the lawyer throws a client or a former client kind of under the bus a little bit in a public way like this. So I was very surprised by this. It's very interesting. It's not something I would have anticipated.
I will say this. The last time we spoke, I must have said this 3, 4, 5 times. It's a bankruptcy case. It's a divorce case. It's not a criminal. Let me pause right there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you are during a bankruptcy case, hiding or concealing or attempting to hide or conceal assets, very quickly turns into a criminal case. So what these lawyers are putting forward would lead me as a lawyer to read, something's not lining up. I see you making that face. That was my reaction to this. It was a major scratcher for me.
Oh, damn. Okay. Do you think that, and I know you said these were things that they were either told or recently found out. Do you think that the weight of the Hulu documentary was that heavy on her representation?
Listen, if you're getting involved in representing Erica Jane, you know that you're already stepping into the spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what is or isn't on a documentary on Real Housewives, if that's making you, leave your client, you shouldn't have accepted her as a client in the first place. Okay. You know what you're signing when you get involved with a high profile client. So to that, I think that would be pretty weak if they saw the documentary and decided to run for the hills.
Wow. How much do you think this will impact like the length of the case and us like finding out what the hell is the final decision here?
At the end of the day, it's still in the first quarter. So it's going to delay things very slightly.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to have to retain new counsel, bring them up to speed. But it's not like we were in the third and we have to start all over. This thing was barely out of the chute. So I don't think this is going to be begin delay. But my very strong advice to Erica Jane would be that she's completely honest with lawyers and that there's nothing that would give them pause.
Yeah.
Because we could turn a very, very basic bankruptcy case into an absolute nightmare if we're not honest and we're trying to conceal assets or something, which, by the way, I am not alleged to be the case. But when I read that, that's was potentially going.
Got you. So you said that she'll have to find new representation. What happens in a situation like this? I mean, does she have to like start calling friends and be like, yo, give me lawyers? Will people find her and be like, hey, like we're willing to help you? How does this happen?
So, what she ultimately needs right now, obviously she has a divorce lawyer, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is bankruptcy. So you need to be a bankruptcy lawyer. You need a bankruptcy specialist. My guess would be that she's probably already speaking to different firms. Won't be long days before she has new counsel.
Interesting. I was reading the other day, just, like people's reactions to everything. And a lot of people were saying that they believe Bravo should say something about the documentary. And like, obviously I know that you work, closely with Bravo with, via Teresa and stuff, but like, would you, in your experience, do you think we could expect them to speak on this at all? Or do you think that their decision will be to like, let the thing play out?
This is just my opinion. Bravo themselves, I don't think will speak. It strikes me that when we typically hear from Bravo or from the network, it usually comes via Andy Cohen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Entity other than Andy Cohen speaking on it, I wouldn't hold my breath for it. Gotcha. Do I think at some point Andy will offer his opinion? Yes. Do I think that at the end of the day, it might not be fodder for the reunion? I absolutely think it could be fodder for the reunion. I mean, it happened. It made a big splash. So presumably those women might be talking about it. So I think we're eventually going to hear people comment about it.
Okay, so there were two things that like I noticed in the documentary that I wanted to ask you about. The first one, it says that Tom is currently still living in their Pasadena home until it sells, correct? So if Tom allegedly has no money, like who pays for something like this in these situations?
At the end of the day, his circumstances there are probably very temporary because their assets have been frozen from what I understand. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, mother or a family member or a friend could be paying the mortgage, or it could just be an arrangement with the bank. The house is going to sell. No, but I would expect that to be something that is happening on the short term, not the long term.
Wow. Okay. And so another thing that, we saw in the documentary was that Tom had Erica listed as secretary on some of his companies. Obviously, he did that so she could reap some sort of benefits. But is this something that she would have had to have been aware of? Like, what would he do that without her knowing?
So, the last time that I was with you, which was a few weeks ago, everything that I had seen up until that point, I think you could make the argument that he was doing all of these things, on his own.
Mm-hmm.
If she's being listed, you have to assume that she's signing a tax document. I mean, listen, Tom has got some major problems. I think they've painted themselves into a pretty dark corner here.
Wow.
Yeah, I really do.
Damn. Okay, well, I just have one really final question. When we last chatted, like you said, you kind of had a pretty almost positive outlook for what their future could hold. Like you said, it's probably going to take time, probably so much time that they'll be able, they'll get off with like lots of fees and fines and things like that, but maybe not have to serve time. How would you compare your feelings on them possibly serving time now than the last time we spoke?
Well, I want to say that they're still not charged with any criminal offenses, right? So in order for that to even be a criminal offense. So, but what I will say, my antenna goes up when I read the lawyer's filings in the case. That gives me tremendous pause.
Yeah.
So if before we were in very clear water, we're getting into some murky water here. Getting into the murky water. And if I'm advising Erica Jane, if she walks into my office, we need to get as far away from her husband. We need to get to innocent spouse. We need to disclose everything. And I mean everything. You're not going to hide money from them. You're not going to do this. You need to put it all out there, because if you're going to try to do that and you get caught, now you're going into a completely different realm that I don't think you need to go into. Things are getting a little hotter. And I'm going to be watching this a little bit more closely now.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, there you heard it. James is saying, listen, I'm not too worried, but I'm not as unworried as I was the last time we talked. So, okay. Well, look, if there are any major developments, I'm going to ping you and ask you to come chat with me again. And if you have some free time, I appreciate you so much hopping on with me today and chatting with me. And I can't wait to talk again soon. I hope you have a good week.
I'm here and I thank you. And I do just want to say this in closing. If I'm a producer on this documentary, I don't know that I'm leading off with Danielle Staub, right? I don't.
Hello.
But hey, listen, to each his own, right? But last time I painted a different than I am today because we have new facts. I think if we were to check in about a month or so, it's either going to start going back to the way that I was describing it, or we're going to start going in a different direction quickly. So I think this is one now that your listeners need to stay tuned to 100%.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, you heard that, everybody.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Before we go this week, I want to give a quick thank you to everyone who has subscribed, rated, and reviewed the Slut Pig podcast. Here's one that I wanted to share with y'all. You're missing out if you're not listening. Bloop, you heard that. This podcast is one of the highlights of my week. I love how Christian keeps the conversation going without any boring or long pauses. Professional and shady is the best way. I know that's right. Super fun and upbeat. Once a week is not enough. I want more, please. Well, listen, I'm just getting started. We'll see what we can do. But if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Rate, review, and subscribe now. And be sure to check out other podcasts from The Dip, including Hot Off the Mess with Samantha Bush, their daily pop culture podcast, Pop Chaser, their TV history podcast, TV Watch Repeat, and I'm the Cute One, Mary Kate and Ashley podcast. And for all you Drag Race fans, there's now a Drag Race podcast called Exposed, Dragged Out with one of my besties, Joseph Shepard. And don't forget to visit thedip.com, where you can get commentary and analysis from writers, editors, and fans who are just as passionate about pop culture as you are, baby. That's thedip.com. And follow them on Instagram as well, at thedip. You can also follow me there at Christian Gray Snow, where we can keep in touch until next time. And if you want, you can buy some good old Slut Pig merch at theslutpigshop.com. Now, don't be like Lisa Vanderpump and go running away. Be sure to come back next week.
Streaming only on Peacock.
What do you know about Dr. Dunch? He was charming, intelligent.
My patients mean everything to me.
Based on the unbelievable true story.
I can't make sense of it.
Dunch has 2 deaths that we know of. The state of Texas has executed people for less.
It's like he knew what he was supposed to do.
And he did the exact opposite.
Dr. Death, starring Joshua Jackson with Christian Slater and Alec Baldwin.
I am going to fix you.
All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock.
What do you know about Dr. Dunch?
Based on the unbelievable true story.
I can't make sense of this.
Dr. Death.
Dunch has 2 deaths that we know of.
Starring Joshua Jackson with Christian Slater and Alec Baldwin.
I am going to fix you.
All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock.